Well, hello again. You join me back at the Syndicate. It's the middle of January, and this morning the temperature's plummeted to -5. I'm sure as you can see here that the lake looks absolutely stunning. This is probably one of the most amazing mornings that I've been at this Syndicate. I got on last night just to do a quick overnighter. After looking at the weather, it said it was going to as low as -1, but I was shocked this morning when I woke up and the inside of my bivvy was frozen, which I've never experienced before. I've done shoots last year with brands in temperatures very similar to this, but my bivvy has never frozen on the inside, so I know that the weather is very intense at the moment. Haven't seen a thing, to be fair, and it's expected at this time of year, so I wasn't expecting too much, but yeah, stuck 2 rigs out on a spot that was pretty much next door to the spot I managed to land one on the last session. So yeah, very hard drops, which is a bit unheard of on here really. I've been fishing in the silt a lot of the time, but the 2 drops I got last night were really solid. The other rod is in swim 1. As I'm the only one at the lake, I thought I'd utilise it. And I'm actually fishing a new spot that I found on my previous session with that rod. It's a lot easier to get to from swim 1, so that rod is in the swim on its own. But yeah, that's about it really. That's pretty much the update for this session. Like I say, it's a nice and short session, quick overnighter. I've got to leave the lake in a few hours, so I thought I'd have a little walk around. And what a stunning environment I'm currently sitting in. So most of you, if not all of you, will know who Jim Shelley is. And Jim put up a video on the Subography channel about a year or so ago detailing salt and how important it is to a carp's lifestyle. Carp naturally crave salt at all times of the year, but more so during the colder months as it's switching from winter to spring, and it can be a massive edge. After watching the video that Jim put up, I sort of looked into salt in a bit more depth and learned a little bit more about it. I started applying it to my own fishing, and I've got to say I'm going to use it this year to its full potential. So a couple of weeks ago I was over the Syndicate flying the drone to get a bit of aerial footage for this next film, and the sun happened to be in a perfect position which gave away a spot that I was really intrigued by. After seeing that, I've got the marker float out and spent a good couple of hours investigating the spot. The spot's roughly 12 foot in depth. It's about 4 foot wide by 6 foot long, and it is surrounded by weed which screams carp to me. I popped the marker float up so I had a point of reference to row the boat out to, and upon arrival over the spot, I was really impressed with what I'd seen. Looking through the aquascope, I quickly learnt that this was a spot I really wanted to focus on in the lead up to spring. So after watching and learning from Jim, doing a bit of my own extensive reading and also speaking to a friend about salt and how it sort of operates, I decided to go down to my local farm shop and buy a couple of salt licks. Now a salt lick is essentially a big rock of Himalayan rock salt as opposed to the crushed down stuff that you see a lot of the time in spod mixes and stuff. Now the reason I've gone for this approach is quite simple. I have access to a boat, so I'm going to row out in that boat and drop the salt lick over the edge and make sure that it lands exactly on the money. I'll then apply crumb, maggot and probably a little bit of hemp to the zone in the lead up to each session, which hopefully is going to land me a few more carp. Okay, so you join me for the 2nd week in February. I've managed to get back over the lake for 2 nights. I've been monitoring the weather for the last week or 2. I've done an extra day's work last week just so I could get an extra day this week to do a couple of nights. And after finding that spot on the last session, I've been over the lake a couple of times in between this session and that one, just out in the boat, dropping a little bit of bait each time And yeah, I come back yesterday just after work to see if some of that bait had gone, and it had done so. I was full of anticipation to get over here for this session today. When I arrived, there was a couple of fellas on the lake. I had a little chat with them and waited for them to leave. Went out in the boat, dropped the rig from the boat, dropped it right on the zone, put about 3 or 4 spoons of bait over the top of it, and yeah, just as I was climbing into the sleeping bag, one bleep and I see the tip bent round, so I've struck into it and I've managed to land another 20 from the lake. 21 pound this mirror's gone. Let's have a look at it. I'm absolutely buzzing, man. I always say it, but yeah, let's show you this ice block of a mirror. There we go. Look at that. February carp. I've been craving a nice one like this for quite some time. Oh, it's cold. It's still very cold, but we've got a mild bit of weather the next couple of days and I plan to fish the entire period. Whether that's 2 or 3 nights, I don't really care because I've got the time and I'm going to use it wisely. So yeah, the rig's back on the money and hopefully I'll nick another one off of that spot. It's a mega spot, as I mentioned before, and yeah, there she is. Right. It's all right, chill out. God, that water's still so cold. Right, just show you the other side. Get that bit of mud off my hand. There we go. There's the other side. Oh, come on, hopefully this is the first of many for this session. I've got plenty of time left, and that spot is the one. I just know that it's going to produce another one. Do you know when you just find them mega spots and you go in with ultimate confidence? That is how I feel right now, so hopefully a few more are on the cards. Right, let's put this back. Right, so you join me for the second evening of this February session. Currently fishing swim 1, and as you see last night I managed a lovely 21 pound mirror out of the swim from the new spot that I've been working on over the last couple of weeks, which is awesome to know. I went out this morning after the wind had sort of died off a little bit and managed to deploy the rig again from the boat with optimum precision, so I'm feeling very confident on that spot for another bite. Now temperature wise, it's been quite cold actually today, despite there being a southwesterly wind pumping into this swim all day. It's still February, so those southwesterlies can still be pretty cold, and today was exactly like that. It's about 9 or so degrees today, but it's actually going up a couple of degrees tonight, so I'm really pleased about that. I might actually be able to take my coat off. But yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much all I've got for you update-wise. Like I say, if anything else happens in the lead up to the end of this session, of course I'm going to document it. Hopefully, I have another fish to show you, and hopefully it's one of the bigger ones. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens for the rest of the session. go. My 10th carp, albeit 2 recaptures of my first year at Clearwater. And what a carp to make it as number 10. £25.12 of absolute perler. I am absolutely over the moon. Oh, look at it. Look at it, mate. It's got some wicked scales on this side as well, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, I just buzzing. I've got to do another night, and I've got to do one. And that's what's going to happen. Oh, look at it. Yes. Right, let me show you these scales. It's all right. I don't mind getting soaked for this one, I tell you. Like a leech on it, I think. There we go, yeah, there's a leech. Oh, this side is unbelievable. Look at this carp, boys and girls. Look at this carp, boys and girls. Look at her. A bit wobbly. There we go. Look at the fish, bro. Oh, God, what a banger. How fitting. The autumn winter episode and an autumn leaf has landed on it. Love that. Oh dear. Right, well, I'm going to get the cuppa on because despite it being a southwesterly, it is still rather bitter. Let's slip this one back and see what this final night brings. Over the moon. Come on. Get in there. Right, okay. Okay, all right, sweet. Right, well, it's pretty windy. Hope you can hear me. Third one of the session. After that lovely mirror yesterday morning, I actually lost one in the afternoon. Got the rigs back out on that same spot, and yeah, third one of the session. But unfortunately, this is one that I like to call jet black, that I think I've had twice already. So. Yeah, a bit unfortunate really. But yeah, I'm just going to treat this mouth. It's got a little bit of a mark there. D-rig was absolutely nailed. But yeah, I'll quickly treat that and then slip this one back. Rod's back on the spot. Hopefully I can nick another one. Cool, it's a pretty one. Anyway, final morning of this session, and this is the 4th one. As you see, last night I actually had a recapture of that common, which was a bit unfortunate, but I got the rod back on the spot. Got a bit of a horrible crosswind coming across the swim at the minute, so it took me 5 or 6 casts to get it bang on the money, but I managed to do it, and yeah, got a bit of well-earned sleep really this morning, and woke up to another take on the same rod, same spot. I managed this little mirror as well, which is really pretty, so I'm going to show you it. Oh, it's that one, yeah? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a really pretty fish. Right, there we go. So, just in mega condition. Like, imagine this at 30, 40 pound, like, cool, what a carp that would be. But anyway, I'm packing up in an hour or 2. Got a birthday party tonight, so unfortunately I've got to go home. But I'm going to have a good drink tonight and hopefully get back over here next week if I can. Session's gone really well. Landed 4 or 5, cannot complain, middle of February. Thank you. Just show you the other side without that healing spot on its tail. Really nice carp. Always say it, but the quality of the carp in this lake is just unbelievable. Anyway, slip it back and warm my hands up because they are frozen. Water's still very cold. Right, okay. Right, well, what can I say? We've come to the end of what I would call a mega session. 5 bites, 4 landed. All 5 bites have come from that spot that I've been working over the last couple of weeks as well, so I'm really, really pleased about that. All the hard work that I've put into it has actually paid off. Biggest was that 25-12, but yeah, just to actually have a number of bites all on the same rod. So yeah, the plan of action is to get back over in next week, introduce a bit more bait to that spot, a bit more salt. I'll run down the farm shop and grab 2 big 5 kilogram salt licks to drop from the boat. So I'm going to do that next week, and hopefully, if possible, I'm going to get over and do at least a night's fishing because I want the run to continue. But yeah, until then, I'm going to get my bag sorted, get back in the car, head home, have a nice drink tonight to celebrate, and yeah, I'll see you in the next session. You join me back at the Syndicate yet again. I've managed to drop on just for a quick overnighter before work. The location that I'm doing some work at the moment is about 10 minutes from the lake, so it just made sense to come here this week. Jumped back in number 1 just because of the previous session and how hectic that was. And yeah, the rod's been out on the spot probably a couple of hours, and I've had this one. It's another fully scaled, but it's only a small one, so I'm just going to lift it quickly, show you it, put it back. The rod's back on the money. Still got about another 8 hours left of this session before I have to pack up in the morning. So fingers crossed I can get into another one. The hook holds I've been getting recently, bar that one I lost, which was probably due to the weed, have been phenomenal. I've had to use the pliers 3 times over the last couple of sessions to actually remove the hook. But another real pretty carp. Hopefully she behaves. We can slip her back nice and quickly. There you go. Another carp ticked off the list. Been really getting into them these last couple of sessions. So yeah, I'm just going to stick to what I'm doing, and hopefully that 30 is not far away. Right, let's get a couple of pictures of this. Go to bed. Right guys, so we've come to the end of my final session over the Clearwater Syndicate, and the reason for that is because I've managed to secure a new ticket, and that means that I'm going to be spending a lot of time and effort going to and from my new water over the next year or two. Having said that, I've really enjoyed my time over Clearwater. The reason why I joined the Clearwater Syndicate back in the spring last year was for two reasons. Number one, it's really weedy over here, and I've noticed over the course of the year that it doesn't really change, especially in the edge. Now, I haven't really fished a lot of weedy waters back in the past, so it was something that I really wanted to better my angling skills on, and I feel like I've managed to achieve that. Like, I've caught a number of carp in weedy areas, and I've managed to locate spots in and amongst the weed. My casting has become more accurate, casting to small little spots, little holes in the weed that I weren't really as confident fishing before joining this lake, so I'm really pleased that I've managed to execute that. On top of that, they've also got access to a boat, as I've mentioned multiple times, and it's something that you don't really get to do in the UK on many waters, so I thought I'd get here, utilise that, better my boat skills, so that when I go abroad, fish the bigger reservoirs, which I'm going to be doing this year, I'm going to have that skill set in my armoury, and it's really, really beneficial. I think being able to fish a number of ways in a number of different scenarios is only going to make you a better angler. And yeah, like I say, I feel like I've managed to utilise the skills very well. So the next part of this journey is going to be me at my new syndicate, so keep your eyes peeled on my channel. I'm going to be building a new film over there, and hopefully I manage to get stuck in to some of the really, really cracking carp that reside in this lake. I'm not going to touch on where I'm fishing just now, I'll keep you guessing. But until the next video, stay tuned, thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you next.